welcome. Thanks for coming. This is not an easy time as we say goodbye to a loved one. It's never easy to accept the passing of someone that was so integral in our lives. But I would like to focus less on the tragic loss of this loved one and consider this to be more of a celebration of the life of someone so dear to our hearts. And of course, I'm referring to the textbook. So in order to do so, I would like to go over a few of the things that I remember most fondly of the textbook. Things that I'll store in my heart forever. For example, I used to love to open the front cover and there'd be a stamp that the librarian had stamped onto that blank first page. And it would say, "Condition when issued." And typically it would say bad, but yet they still did issue that book out to some student. I won't forget that. Of course, you'll remember as well flipping through the pages of the textbook, and every 20 or 30 pages there'd be a really gross stain. And I think we can all look back fondly on those times. Sometimes it looked like it might be blood, not sure, or maybe chocolate, could be spit, or again, no one really knew. And that was one of the charming things about those gross stains distributed randomly throughout the textbook. Another thing that I found endearing about these textbooks that we all grew up on was how the pictures they chose, I think they were selected to be hip, because teenagers like, hip things. And I remember some of the child models would have mullets, which were significantly dated. I remember windsurfers in some of the math books. I was never sure how the windsurfer was really related to math at all. But I do know that windsurfing is not even a thing anymore. And I thought that was something cool about the textbook that we love. I'm not sure if you had the same experience, but another thing I loved was sometimes the previous owner of the book, or the student that was issued the book before me, would insert a fun game where I would go to do my homework, and in the corner it would say, "Turn to page 111." And then I would flip to page 111. And then on page 111 it would say, "Turn to page 12." And then I would flip back to 12. And then it might say, "Go to page 63." And this would go on for a while until finally it came to kind of culminated into the final stop. And then it would say something like, "You are a butthole." Excuse me. That is a fond memory I have from the majority of my textbooks. Of course, who can also forget just the random cuss words throughout the book that some disgruntled student before me had written randomly. And it didn't make sense. It would be, an F word here, some other, maybe some slurs here and there. Just general negative cuss words. You don't get that everywhere, and that's something that I remember from our textbooks, and I'm gonna remember it forever, and I think we all will. And so again, I would like to invite others to come up and share stories about the textbook that they remember. Because again, this is not a time to mourn. This is a time to celebrate what the textbook was and what it did for us. And so, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate you being here. And let's never forget, even though its time has come and the textbook is in a better place, let's never forget the middle and high school textbooks. Thank you.